Alright, good afternoon, people. It's your local esports coach here, Benny Star, and we're here with episode 2 on what is esports and what that means for Trinidad and Tobago. Alright, so yesterday we would have mentioned Esports Nations Cup, right, and some Caribbean tournaments, right, and where do we stand when it comes to participating and competing in those. What we really have to look at is having that structure. Okay, in order to reach to these big tournaments, you have to go through um, qualifiers, right? And you have to fight up with the different countries in your region to qualify. And if those countries are, we are in South America, so we battling a lot of other South American countries, and those South American countries have esports organizations already established, so they're already producing right, high level players, which will lead to high level teams, right? And although there's a restriction to how many professional players can be on a team representing one specific country, having two or three high level players already gives your team an advantage when it comes to anyone else who is now trying to put together a team. So we're looking at structure, having proper structure in the way we do things that we can actually compete at the highest level, right? So when you're looking at competition, we're not looking at today for tomorrow or even this year, right? We're looking at putting together, building that foundation that we can actually go forward for next year and the year after when we're looking at the next Esports Nations Cup. But we have to start doing work now, right? So where do we stand when it comes to those things, right? We have the different esports titles, right? Where do we start, right? Um, we have fighting games. We have a fighting game community. We have a couple players who are at a high level. After that, when it comes to players playing on their own, that is neither here or there, right? So we need proper training grounds, proper meetups, proper events, proper tournaments going forward, so the players have the access to those to be able to get better, right? Coaches, that is something entirely, um, that's a different conversation, right? I am a coach, right? And what I have done to call myself a coach, no one else isn't just doing that just like that. So I'll give you all a quick rundown. Back in 2017, I opened the Great Gaming Lounge. I have a massive background of competing in different fighting games as well as team games. Right, I've always had the understanding, a deeper understanding when it comes to games and mechanics. Right, so that allowed me to compete at the highest level when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago and internationally. Right, so I also, when I decided to become a coach, I did psychology. I did psychology. I did public speaking, psychology to understand persons when it comes to teaching, and public speaking to know how to speak to persons, right, in that forum, right. I also did a couple courses online that would go along with coaching as well, and I've done many other courses that involve like psychology in itself, right. I also have a master's in esports management and gaming, right, that gives me a deeper background, a deeper understanding when it comes to esports and what it involves around the world, right? So I could now come and share that information with persons interested. So coaching is not just being good at a game and saying you can teach someone, because you being good at a game and teaching someone and bringing them up to be as good as you or better than you is a task in itself, right? You being able to transfer that skill and understanding that you know to someone else, right? Especially majority of the persons that I coach them from beginner level, meaning that they never would have played any of the games before, and we would have started them from beginner, and brought them straight up to the highest level of competition. Right? So coaching, having coaches is one of a very important thing that you need when it comes to esports and bringing people up to the highest level. Because a lot of great players don't necessarily mean that they could teach or get persons to understand and bring them up to the level that they are at. All right, so yes, we have the fighting game community, and then we have other online communities with different games: Call of Duty, Valorant, League of Legends, PUBG, right? That are around, but nothing is really happening, right? My time is very limited when it comes to doing particular stuff, right? I focus on Smash, I focus on Dota 2, League of Legends, Apex Legends, Marvel Rivals, Street Fighter, Tekken, right? There's not enough hours in the day for me to sort out when it comes to other teaching other persons, right? So we now have to put things in place when it comes to bringing up players to be able to get them at the highest level. All right. One of the things that we do, knowing that we're a small country, we don't have plenty players that we can just, select from. Right. Say, hey, you're looking for Street Fighter players. Okay, I have 10 Street Fighter players. No, we don't have that. As I said, might have 4 or 5 for the most. Everyone else just there. Right, so one of the things that we organized with was the secondary school esports league, and we have clubs in different secondary schools, right? So kids coming in as young as 11 years, 12 years have access to esports in the clubs in the schools, right? And they get to play the different esports titles that will lead up to the Esports Nations Cup. So when they start at Form 1, they now building that foundation and having that structure in building what is a esports player, yeah, right? And from there now, as they go about and they learn Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and they get more and more active when it comes to esports and competing, we already know where we have players that we could choose from, right? And we have players on the outside asking about it and coming in. Once those players are committed and want to be a part of the scenes, right? They could also become a part of the scenes. But the esports league, secondary school esports league, is there so that we have the proper foundation and structure that we can actually bring players up, right, and build them up so we can have those players and teams represent the country, right? So we have them from as young, right, coming up. So when they are ready, we have the players from there. All right. So this was episode 2 of me mostly rambling about esports, right, and everything that is happening. So check us out tomorrow for the next episode, right, where we get into more of the things happening, right? So esports coach here, local esports coach here, Benny Star, signing out.